Way before All the Dogs was dropped, before anyone told Metro to shut up, and before Kendrick was calling people bums, or Drake was dissing himself with The Heart Part 6, the famous actor we once knew,
don't say it,
P. Drizzy, was in another infamous rap beef. Most people assume he lost.
We are most people.
But because of recent events, it feels as though people forget just how bad things got. One of my favorite things my brother and I say to each other on a daily basis is, people forget. Whether we're talking about prime James Harden with the Rockets, how weird people were during the Pandy, how great of a show the Boondocks was, or how psychologically damaging Courage the Cowardly Dog was. People forget. But today, we remember. We remember exactly how a beef went from, you use ghostwriters, to, you don't sell as many drugs as you say you do. And then somehow became,
you are hiding a son.
Derapy. So in 2011, Pusha T dropped a song called Don't Fuck With Me, which is hilarious because I'm from the future. The lines people think were directed at Drake read, sophomores acting like they boss lords. And also another line that says, swag don't match they sweaters. Do you guys remember swag, by the way, when people used to say that all the time? 2012 was a different time, wasn't it? Hop up out that bitch, turn my swag on. So people thought this was a Drake diss because he was literally releasing his sophomore album that year, and he was always rocking sweaters at the time. I remember this vividly, as I was in high school at the time. This was also a time where I was a peak Drake fan, by the way. You guys remember Headlines, The Motto, The Inception of YOLO,
You only live once, that's
HYFR, Marvin's Room, whatever. You guys don't even care. But these bars from Push may have been like a false flag, like, because he says that they weren't about Drake. Drake says if it was directed at him, then it should have been a bit more direct, which I'm gonna give Drake credit. It's kind of tough at the time, but whatever, sue me. Now, in 2012, Pusha T drops this song called Exodus 23:1, where he raps, contract fucked up. I guess that means you all fucked up. You signed to one nigga that signed to another nigga that signed to three niggas. Now, that's bad luck. Now, this sounds familiar for some reason.
You were signed to a nigga that signed to a nigga that said he was signed to that.
So this is about Drake being signed to Wayne and Young Money, who was signed to Birdman, and Cash Money, who was signed under Universal Records. This was like shocking to read about because as a kid growing up, the way Lil Wayne rapped about Young Money, he was so proud of it. He talked about, they dropped this entire album called We Are Young Money, had Nicki Minaj, Tyga, Lil Twist, some guy named Gutta, Mac Main, a bunch of other people that were signed to Young Money. And the way Lil Wayne described it, it was like, it was his own thing. He was so proud of it. Like he had his own team, his own squad, his own type of thing going on. But like in hindsight, it's like how much of it was really him, you know? I don't know. Growing up sucks. Wayne was signed to a guy that signed to a guy that signed to a group that signed to a label. And it's just nonsense. I couldn't keep up with it all. I feel like a lot of young artists probably fall victim to these things and like they don't even know. Because, like, if someone offers you, like, a deal worth, like, millions of dollars or whatever, you probably don't think about, like, how you have to split it amongst people that have to split it amongst people and how everybody's going to want their cut out of what you make. Whatever. This this isn't about that. But
wait, there's more.
Lil Wayne actually responded to Pusha T in, like, a diss track that I don't know if anybody heard. I had literally never heard this until I started doing this podcast today. So we're going to listen to a little bit of it. And, you know, YouTube might kill me for it. I honestly don't care. Psych, I just listened to it, and believe it or not,
Come on, cuz.
it's actually not that good. Now, I will say this. There is one part that I really do love about it. Like, the very first line of the song, I just want to be clear here. Lil Wayne says, fuck Pusha T and anybody that love him. Now, I can only assume that means fans, his friends, industry or otherwise. Like, his mom. Like, Lil Wayne is like, fuck you. So, you know, that's cool. I actually prefer... I feel like that could have just been, like, a tweet or something. But, like, all he says is, like, I don't like you or anyone else that likes you. And then it's just like Lil Wayne freestyling. Like at one point he mentions Truck Fit, which is like some merch that he dropped at the time. He also says, too many banana clips. I feel like chimps.
Boy, if you don't get...
Nice one, Wayne. Do you ever just get the sense that somebody like just really doesn't have like the heart to really be engaged in a diss battle? I feel like if you aren't Kendrick, like somebody that actually hates the person that they're dissing, then it's just like people can tell when you don't really care that much. So in 2013, Pusha T takes another shot at Lil Wayne saying, How real is he if you've been paying for his blood ties? He blood in, he blood out, a blood drive. Bars. It's kind of funny. I actually like that. Now, Drake would jump in before Lil Wayne would even have a chance to respond, because on his 2013 album, Nothing Was the Same, Drake would say, I'm just as famous as my mentor, but that's still the boss don't get sent for. Get hype on tracks and jump in front of a bullet you wasn't meant for. I like the flow. It's a good song. Nothing Was the Same was a good album. We can argue about it. Anyways, I find this to be incredibly ironic because Drake is actually going to be jumping in front of a bullet that wasn't meant for him. It feels like Pusha T doesn't really have that big of a problem with Drake right now, and Drake is just inserting himself into this beef. And it's like if Drake would have just minded his fucking business, he everything might be different. Who knows? So 2016 rolls around, Pusha T drops HGTV Freestyle, and he says, it's too far gone when the realest ain't real. I walk amongst the clouds so your ceilings ain't real. These niggas Call of Duty because their killings ain't real. With a questionable pin so the feeling ain't real? God damn! God damn! I mean, I think that... God damn! Okay. God damn! I think these are really impressive bars. First he says too far gone, which is referencing so far gone. So he's too far gone. He's even farther. Okay. Then he also mentions walk amongst the clouds so your ceilings ain't real. The cover art for Nothing Was the Same is Drake's head amongst clouds, and Pusha T says he's walking on those clouds. Then he says your ceilings ain't real, which is referencing Lil Wayne's mixtape No Ceilings, which is a great mixtape, by the way. I still listen to that all the time. He says these niggas Call of Duty because their killings ain't real, which works a couple different ways, because one, Drake says he's a killer, like he's like a dangerous person, he's killing people. Psych! These are not facts. And he also says constantly in his raps that he's killing the game, which Pusha T simply does not believe. And he says with a questionable pen, so the feeling ain't real.
Oh, it's like the pen's full of ink?
He's saying Drake has ghostwriters.
Oh. Okay.
So much is said in such a short amount of time. The bars are potent. They're powerful, like a spirit bomb. So how would Drake respond to this 2016 freestyle? In 2017, Drake would release not an album, not a mixtape or EP. He called it a playlist.
Okay.
On the More Life playlist, there was once a song called Two Birds, One Stone, where he disses Pusha T again. Funny enough, this song is co-written by Kanye West, which is strange. And another weird thing about this song is that it has the cover art for More Life, but it's not on the More Life playlist. I don't know. I don't have the answers to these questions, and frankly, I don't really care. But here's what Drake says to Pusha T. You made a couple chops, and now you think you chopo. If you ask me, though, you ain't lining the trunk with kilos. You bagging weed, watching Pacino. Like, this is what we need to be on. But you never went live. You middleman in this shit. Boy, you was never them guys. I can tell because I look most of you dead in your eyes, and you'll be trying to tell that story for the rest of your lives. Drake is basically saying, like, Pusha T, at best, you're, like, selling weed on the side to make an extra couple of bucks. You're not El Chapo, my guy. You're watching Pacino flicks wishing you were him, and you're simply not. This is a funny diss to me because, like, how could Pusha T possibly prove otherwise? Like, he can't post, like, an Instagram story of him with, like, a bunch of kilos of cocaine and be like, see, Drake, I'm really actually selling a lot of hard drugs. I wonder if there's ever been, like, in the history of, like, a rap beef or a feud or somebody being called out for not being gangster. It's like, I just can't imagine a rapper being called out for, like, not being a killer and then, like, going on, like, a Snapchat story and be like, well, I just killed a guy. Look, he's dead. Hashtag guilty. I've never really understood a lot of these disses and, like, what you plan to get out of it. It's one thing if Pusha comes out and he's like, Drake, I think you have ghostwriters, and people go online and they look at the song credits and they're like, there's a lot of people writing on this song. Maybe you should answer to that. Like, how are you going to say you're the best when all these people are writing your raps with you? But, like, it's just really interesting to, like, question somebody's gangster in this way. I don't know. I mean, it's funny though. It's not that bad. Now, 2018, things get serious. Pusha T drops Daytona. The last song in the album is called Infrared, and he once again calls out Drake for having ghostwriters. He says the lyric penning equal to Trump's winning. The bigger question is how the Russians did it. It was written like Nas, but it came from Quentin. So he's basically saying Trump had outside help to win the election. I don't know. I can't verify that. I don't really care. But he's saying that Drake, similarly to Trump, also had outside help in order to write his raps, which is a pretty funny comparison to make. He also says, believe in myself and the Coles and Kendricks. It's funny because eventually these three would be referred to as the big three, Cole, Kendrick, and Drake. Pusha T was saying 6 years ago, I believe in Cole and Kendrick, not Drake. Pusha T also says, I don't tap dance for the crackers and sing Mammy. And there's actually a blackface performance called My Mammy. So that's also a very, very, very subtle jab at Drake, who he would later on use a picture of Drake in blackface as part of his diss. He also takes some shots at Boss Baby and the Lemon Pepper King, but I don't care about them. I'm just ready for Drake to wake up.
He's talking about Rick Ross and Birdman, by the way.
Drake finally says, I'm tired of you saying that I'm using ghostwriters. Let me get my best ghostwriters together so we can write the Duppy Freestyle. Now, I, at the time as a Drake fan, heard the Duppy Freestyle and I was like, yo! We won. We got him. We got him. Pusha T, shut up. Sit down. It's fire. I have not listened to the Duppy Freestyle probably in years. So we are going to listen to it together for real this time and see if any of this stuff still holds up, despite the fact that we know the future.
I'm in shock. The nerve, the audacity.
I don't know why it never occurred to me, even 6 years ago, that Drake is such a silly little zesty goose. I'm in shock. The nerve, the audacity. Like, shut your hoe ass up. Like, dude, just rap.
Okay. So if you rebuke me for working with someone else on a couple of V's, what do you really think of the nigga that's making your beats? I've done things for him I thought that he never would need. Father had to stretch his hands out and get it from me. I pop style for 30 hours, then let him repeat. Now you popping up with the jokes, I'm dead, I'm asleep. I just left from over by y'all putting pen to the sheets. Tired of sitting quiet and helping my enemies eat.
One of the cool things about a Drake diss track is there aren't that many layers to it. You know, you can kind of read it for what it is. He says, if you want to rebuke me for working with someone else on a couple of V's, he means verses, what do you really think of the guys that are making your beats? I've done things for them I thought I would never need. Father had to stretch his hands out and get it for me. I pop style for 30 hours and let him repeat. This is just a long way of saying that, Kanye asked me to help him write some things, which is... okay. Like, first of all, this is more of a diss towards Kanye than Pusha T. And he's just like, I never thought that Kanye West would need my help. Okay, well, that's fine. I mean, this isn't really about him. It's like, look, I'm going to be as charitable to Drake as I possibly can. Because I'm not going to act like when this first came out, I didn't think that it did something. But I just wanted to say that it's kind of a weak start, you know? I would hope that if I was ever in a rap feud, that people would break down my lyrics the way that I'm breaking down Drake's right now and be more impressed by them. If I'm just simply reading the lyrics from Kendrick Lamar's Euphoria, I'm much more excited about explaining it, going in depth, and talking about how cutting it is, as opposed to this. So far, I haven't heard anything. If I hear something good, I'll let you know.
Keep getting temperature checks, they know that my head overheats. Don't know why the fuck you niggas listen to Denim and Steve. Must have had your infrared wrong, now your head in a beam. Y'all are the spitting image of whatever jealousy breeds. Don't push me when I'm in album mode. You're not even top 5 as far as your label talent goes. You send shots, well I gotta challenge those. But I bring calicos to the Alamo.
So Denim is a dude who works with Kanye at Yeezy, and Steven works at Universal Music Group. So Drake is talking about these people. I didn't know who they were. Genius doesn't have any additional context. So I feel like if you have to do this much digging to figure out what the diss is, then I don't think it's super effective, but I don't know. Tell me if I'm wrong.
We do not care.
So then he says, must have had your infrared wrong. Now your head's in the beam. Get it? Because Infrared was the name of Pusha T's album, but now Drake has Pusha T like in his sights.
Oh, brother, this guy.
Okay. Then Drake raps, don't push me when I'm in album mode.
Or what?
Then he says Pusha T is in top 5 on his own label, which is funny, but it has to be true. There has to be some truth in order for it to really hit. So let's see. Genius.com actually has some of these artists in a list here. So let's see if Pusha T isn't top 5 amongst these artists here. So at the time, the signees to Good Music's label were Kanye West, Big Sean, Pusha T, Sci-Hi, the Prince, I think. Tiana Taylor, Casey Hill, HXLT, Designer, 070 Shake, Francis and the Lights, Valley, Valee, Sheck West. And that's the extent of the list according to Genius.com. Are there 5 people here better than Pusha T? Like, okay, so let's say Kanye's better than Pusha T. That's fine. We could have a very long and intense argument, but like if you like wanted to die on the hill that Big Sean is better than Pusha T, okay, fine, whatever. Most of these other people I haven't heard of. Sheck West, I mean, find me a Pusha T song that's better than Mo Bamba. Do it. I dare you. Okay, but all jokes aside, this it sounds good in the flow of the song, but realistically, there were not 5 good music artists that were better than Pusha T, so this kind of doesn't work either, if we're being completely honest. Now, Drake did say, I bring Calicos to the Alamo, which is like a fun bit of wordplay. It's referencing, Calico is a powerful automatic gun. We know Drake doesn't carry, so we can imagine that it's a metaphor. The Alamo is like a big Mexican-American battle, so he's saying that like, oh, you're comparing yourself to big cartel drug dealers. Well, I would bring Calicos to your Alamo. Like, it's fun, but like, I don't, it's not hurting anybody.
I could never have a Virgil in my circle and hold him back cause he makes me nervous. I wanna see my brothers flourish to their higher purpose. You niggas leeches and serpents, I think it's good and now the teachers are learning. Yeah, your brother said it was your cousin and him then you. So you don't rap what you did, you just rap what you knew. Don't be ashamed, there's plenty niggas that do what you do. There's no malice in your heart, you an approachable dude. Man, you might have sold to college kids for Nike and Mercedes, but you act like you sold drugs for Escobar in the 80s. I had a microphone of yours, but then the signature faded. I think that pretty much resembles what's been happening lately. Please believe your demise will be televised. Yeah. And as for Q, man, I changed his life a couple times. Nigga was at Kroger working double time. Y'all acting like he made the boy when I was trying to help the guy.
The whole Virgil in my circle making me nervous, leeches and serpents, teachers learning, all this stuff is like, these are Kanye disses, and we're not really here for all that. After this, Drake says, your brother said it was your cousin, then him, then you. You don't rap what you did, you just rap what you knew. Don't be ashamed, there's no malice in your heart, you're an approachable dude. So funny. You're actually quite approachable, I would say. Now, this, I believe, personally, is actually a pretty good bar from Drake. So Clips was this duo made up of Pusha T and his brother Malice. They rapped about, slinging Miley Cyrus, slanging Katy Perry, all that. They did that for 3 albums. And then Malice was like, man, all this rapping about moving Madonna, it's not great. So he actually changed his name to No Malice, which is like actually kind of nice. If you're like me, like a nice law-abiding citizen, you're like, oh, he went from Malice to No Malice. That's pretty cool. He's doing it for the kids. No Diddy. And Drake is saying there's no malice in your heart. I feel like that's a good diss. I don't know. He's basically leaning into the idea of them not really being about that life they used to be, but then they stopped. Then he says, you slung Britney Spears to college kids, basically. You're not Pablo Escobar. Then he alludes to how he once bought a mic that belonged to Pusha, which is a wild self-report. This is just Drake shooting himself in the foot. And when I heard this 6 years ago, I should have known at this point that like Drake was on the back foot. He's a very defensive guy. Drake used to be a big fan of Pusha T way back in the day. And it's like,
I just had an epiphany.
Okay, so Drake has Tupac's ring, and back in the day he was buying Pusha T's microphone. This guy might actually be a phony. Kendrick was right. He is a fan. The bar about the signature fading and how that resembles Pusha T as of lately, like it would be a good bar, but it just doesn't age super well because Pusha T is respected by other rappers and also has like a solid, loyal fan base. And then, again, just like he did in the Heart Part 6, goes on the defense. And he mentions Q, Quentin, calls him Q. He says, this guy that Pusha claims is writing for him was working at a Kroger before Drake gave him work, which is like, why are we dissing your own ghostwriter? Also, you are literally acknowledging that you have a ghostwriter. Like,
He was like, oh, I was just trying to help the guy out. He was helping you out, Drake. And it's like, we can talk about quid pro quo and what that means and how both people benefit from it, the concept of mutualism, whatever. But it just feels like, I don't know. Drake's going to go on and try to explain why, like, having a ghostwriter is cool and fine. But I just feel like it's not something that you should address head on, especially if you're basically going to concede that the diss about you is true and try to play it off like I was just trying to give like some bum some work. It's just such a weird deflection.
Anyways, here's the rest of the song.
Yeah. Who gassed you to play with me? Man, you made this shit as easy as ABCs. Whoever supposedly making me hits, but ain't got no hits, sound like they need me. My hooks did it, my lyrics did it, my spirit did it, I'm fearless with it, yeah. I really shouldn't have given you none of my time, cause you older than a nigga you running behind. Look, holla at me when you multi-million. I told you keep playing with my name and I'ma let it ring on you like Virginia Williams.
Everything was cool, man. All he did was tell Pusha, you don't sell as many drugs as you claim to. You're not that good of a rapper. You don't have that much money. I'm not impressed by you. Frankly, this was not a good use of my time. Drake saying that, oh, if my ghostwriters are so good at writing for me and they've made all my hits, why don't they just become Drake themselves? It's like not even a terrible point. It's just like it's just like a really funny defense, you know? Like it's at the end of the day, it's just another defense. Like I want to give Drake credit for it because it's not like the least clever thing you could say. I just don't see how it's offensive to Pusha T. Also, I think that maybe Drake just doesn't expect people to imagine the things that he's saying literally, because I'm thinking about a conversation between him and Lil Dwayne Carter and Boss Baby Birdman Stunna Daddy guy. And they're all like, the three of them are like having like dinner or something, like having steak and mashed potatoes. And Drake's like, don't worry, guys, I'm going to done them for you. Like, okay, Aubrey, cool. And the shot that he's taken where he's like, holler at me when you multi-million, like, okay, so you're calling him broke and that's fine. If you're saying that Pusha T's net worth is less than $2 million, cool. But it also makes it kind of more silly for you to be dissing him, because it's like, this dude is not nearly as successful or as rich and as famous as you are, and you are dedicating an entire song to him. So, you know, just think about that. And none of this would have really mattered at all if you just didn't put his wife's name in your... We're gonna move on. Like, not the worst Drake diss attempt ever, because we're from the future, but like, at the end of the day, how would we rate it?
5
out of 10.
Not bad and not awesome, but maybe Drake thought that this was just the beginning of like a longer feud. Who knows? But he also thinks that that he dunned him. So I don't know. Anyways, I know what you guys are here for. Let's listen to how Pusha T would respond to this diss.
Easy money. It's about to be a surgical summer. Chop the tops off the coupes.
I love the choice of beat. It's the story of OJ beat from Jay-Z's album 444. At the end of the Duppy freestyle by Drake, he talks about how it's going to be a cruel summer, which is silly because I feel like that's a Taylor Swift song. Editor Derek, let me know.
It is, and who's Taylor made now, Drake?
So Pusha T's response to Drake saying it's going to be a cruel summer, he's like, it's going to be a surgical summer, and these lines are cutting immediately. In Duppy Freestyle, it's like Drake was trying to hit him with some jabs here and there. At best, he got a few jabs in, but at worst, it was really just a lot of defensive stuff. Like, what's so bad about ghostwriting? I ghost wrote for Kanye. Pusha T is coming out with the fire immediately.
Drug dealing aside, ghost writing aside, let's have a heart-to-heart about your pride. Even though you're multi, I see that your soul don't look alive. The M's count different when baby divides the pie. Wait, let's examine why your music for the past few years been angry and full of lies. I started at the home front, I'm on one. Dennis Graham, stay off the gram, bitch, I'm on one. You mentioned wedding ring like it's a bad thing. Your father walked away at 5, hell of a dad thing.
Just immediately goes into the fact that Drake's father walked out on him. It's just mean. I feel like at the core, a diss track should be directed at the person specifically, and it should just be very mean. First of all, he's like, Drake, your dad is embarrassing. Can we please have him stay off the gram? Makes fun of I'm on One twice, a very popular song that Drake was a part of. He says the M's count different when baby divides the pie. He's talking about how Birdman, who is the person that signed Wayne, that signed Drake. If you're going to acknowledge something that somebody said, it's important to immediately flip it back onto the other person. Drake brags about being a multimillionaire and Pusha's like, okay, but how much of that money is going to other people? Like, let's be real. Also, Drake is getting clowned on for bringing up somebody else's girl because, like, having a monogamous relationship isn't actually a bad thing, as Pusha T says. I just feel like Drake could have once again avoided all of this if he just left these innocent people alone. Like, what did Virginia Williams have to do with Pusha T saying that you have ghostwriters? Like, I just don't understand.
Why?
And I almost forgot to mention how as soon as this song starts, he's like, forget the drug dealing stuff, forget the ghostwriting stuff, because it's almost like Pusha T, I love how dismissive he is about the thing that Drake was trying to make the biggest deal out of. This is the difference between an artist like Pusha T and like Drake. If Kendrick makes fun of Drake for like having interactions and inappropriate engagement with younger people, Drake spends literally half a song trying to convince you that he didn't do it. But he's like, hey, Pusha, you don't sell drugs like you say you do. And Pusha T, the very first line of the song is like, drug dealing aside. Like, I don't even care about that. I don't care whether you believe me or not.
We don't care.
This is the sign of somebody that is locked in.
Marriage is something that Sandy never had, Drake. How you a winner, but she keep coming in last place. Monkey suit, Dennis, you parade him. A Steve Harvey suit, nigga made him. Confused, always felt you weren't black enough. Afraid to grow it cause your fro wouldn't nap enough.
This is true. As somebody that's followed Drake for the past 15 and a half years, every time that hair gets a little bit too long, he's either cutting it or he's doing some funky braids with it. Like, there's got to be some type of, he's putting a heart in the fade. He's getting some weird braids. They're getting twisted. And this is just the difference between these artists. When Kendrick and Pusha T and even, hell, Rick Ross are dissing you, they're actually going at you directly, at the heart of your character, at your soul, at your deepest insecurities. Drake is calling people short and saying, you're a liar. You're not slinging Demi Lovato like you claim to be. Yeah, well, your dad left, so.
Since you name dropped my fiance, let them know who you chose as your Beyonce. Sophie knows better as your baby mother. Cleaned her up for IG, but the stench is on her. A baby's involved, it's deeper than rap. We talking character, let me keep with the facts.
Pusha T is reminding you that the only reason what's happening right now is happening is because you name dropped his fiance. Why, Drake? Why do you do this to yourself? And then calls out Drake's baby mother by name? Pusha T has called out your mother, your father, and your baby mother by name. And it's only been like 90 seconds into this song. And one part that nobody talks about that I think is like... I'm just looking at the lyrics on my laptop right now, and it is killing me. What does he mean, cleaned her up for IG, but the stench is on her? He said, your girl reeks, son.
She smells like vermin.
Like, I'm just imagining, like, Drake spraying down his baby moms with some, like, high-quality, top-tier perfume because she just reeks of, like, of just other dudes. Like, what? Rapping baby mother and stenches on her is so diabolical.
For IG, but the stench is on her. A baby's involved, it's deeper than rap. We talking character, let me keep with the facts. You are hiding a child, let that boy come home. Deadbeat motherfucker playing border patrol. Ooh!
Playing border patrol is ludicrous, especially considering apparently a rep for Drake said that she was using her pregnancy as an excuse to get into the United States. And Drake is playing border patrol, trying to keep his own child out of the country. What the fuck? Drake would go on his album and say, I wasn't hiding my kid from the world. I was hiding the world from my kid because, you know, people were weird. I didn't want people talking about him. But it's like, nah, dude. Pusha T told us you were actually waiting to announce him along with like a deal with Adidas for a press run. It's like, nah, dude, I'm not gonna expose my child to the world unless I can drop some merch with it. You fucking dork. I completely forgot just like how intricate the takedown of Drake was in this song until I'm listening back to it. It's nuts.
You are hiding a child, let that boy come home. Deadbeat motherfucker playing border patrol. Ooh, Adonis is your son, and he deserves more than an Adidas press run. That's real. Love that baby, respect that girl. Forget she's a porn star, let her be your world. Yeah.
Bro hit his girl with the yuck.
Nasty.
Can that be my text tone? Like every time a text comes through, you just hear
Yeah.
that shit is so funny. Also, name dropping the child is like insane. Somehow that feels illegal. Like I know that it's not, but it feels like it. Like if nobody knows that you have a kid and just being like, hey, I'm gonna go ahead and put this newborn baby's name in my rap song because I'm upset with you. And it's also funny because Pusha T knows that we don't know who Sophie is. So he just openly decides to be like, by the way, guys, she is a porn star. I just want to be clear about that. Like, she was a porn star. Now she has Drake's baby. Drake had a baby with a porn star. He's trying to keep her away. He's trying to keep his own son out of the country. Also, the only way he will let you all know about this child is if he can monetize it like a fucking YouTube mid-roll ad or something.
Yeah. How dare you put yay in my verses? I'm selfish, I want all of the curses. I'm pre-booking the churches, me versus 3 hearses. If we all go to hell, it'll be worth it. Already aligned with the greats. And on that same note, the only ones I chase are 2 ghosts. Still giving you classics. That's the only thing that dates me. OVO 40, hunched over like he 80. Tick, tick, tick. How much time he got? That man is sick, sick, sick. I got the devil flow, nigga.
Oh, I'm no Pablo Escobar. You're beefing with Kanye. I'm broke. I don't have a couple $1 million. Oh, you're going to mention my girl's name? Not even say anything bad about her, but like you're just going to speak her name. That's cool, man. That's fine. Your parents' marriage is a failure. Your father left you. Your baby mom's a porn star. You're hiding her. You're hiding your child. Here's the kid's name, by the way. He's named after a shoe that you're probably going to drop with him. Like a limited time merch drop or something. Oh, yeah. Have you guys ever heard of 40? Good friend of Drake's, makes his beats. Yeah, he's suffering from a debilitating, incurable condition that's shortening his life. Tick, tick, tick. That man is sick, sick, sick.
Come on, cuz.
Pusha T, you're sick, okay? This is cruel. Drake talks about how it's going to be a cruel summer for Pusha T. Pusha T hurt Drake's feelings so bad he can't even say the man's name anymore.
I have no desire to ever mend anything with that person. And yeah, that situation just went, it just went where it went, and it's just there's no turning back.
Tick, tick, tick. How much time he got? That man is sick, sick, sick. I got the devil flow, nigga. 666. Surgical summer with it. Snip, snip, snip. And you don't really want it with him. Surgical Summer Volume 1. We gonna take this slow. We just gonna peel it back layer by layer. Yeah. Daytona. Album of the motherfucking year. And you talking about you upset. Well, I wanna see what it's like when you get angry, okay? You show me that.
Drake would never respond. We would never see what it was like when Drake actually got angry. He said that Pusha took it to a place where it was just too much. The information was too shocking. The man had gone too far. Well, you would think that Drake would learn that lesson. Maybe don't bring up people's women. Don't bring people into the situation that have nothing to do with the situation. Stay focused and rap beef. Don't start what you can't finish. But then, years later, the funniest thing would happen. Okay, I'm joking, but look, this was funny. Like, people forget. I'm glad that I could have this documented in my podcast feed on my YouTube channel. I did not remember just how surgical Push got with it. What's crazy is, in hindsight, the Duppy freestyle wasn't even as good as I remembered. Like, I thought I was going to look forward to hearing it, but it didn't age well, like many of the things that Drake has done. I just feel like maybe I'm outgrowing Drake. Like, we've actually gotten to the point where Kendrick Lamar passed him in monthly Spotify listeners, which is frankly something that I just never thought would happen. Even at the peak of the Not Like Us period, I thought that eventually things would die down, but it seems like similarly to me, a lot of people have been put onto Kendrick that weren't listening to him before, or maybe there are some people like me that were bigger Drake fans that have now kind of converted into kind of bigger Kendrick fans. Like I've gone back and listened to Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers and Damn and Section 80. I say those because those are the ones that I wasn't listening to before. And I'm like, wow, I've been like not really tapping into somebody that is clearly a better artist. And I think deep down I always knew that Kendrick was the better artist, but I was just having fun, man. I mean, that's what the top of my YouTube page says. I'm just out here trying to have fun. But Kendrick took the joy away from Drake fans. And if I was being real, like if I wasn't so completely under the spell of Drake's hits, because it's like it's just weird. It's kind of like I used to not really understand how people would find out the things that R. Kelly did or Chris Brown did and they would just stick with them. But Drake is the artist that I grew up listening to. So even when he got absolutely demolished by Pusha T, his kid gets exposed, his baby mother gets exposed, everybody finds out that there's this stench on her. I was just like, well, you know, these things happen. You know, successful rap artists, sometimes they have baby mamas. But it just feels like I kind of wish I would have listened to the people telling me when Pusha T beat Drake, like maybe this isn't the guy you want to follow. You know, if he can get taken down by somebody that doesn't have nearly as much commercial success, isn't nearly as big, isn't nearly as popular, maybe that says something about how fragile the foundation of Drake's character is as a rapper and as a person. This has gotten way deeper than I thought it was. If you have any suggestions of beefs that you want me to cover in like 30, 35 minutes or something like that, please let me know. If you made it this far, obviously you like the video, so, you know, like it. And if you're on Spotify or Apple Podcast, especially if you're on Apple Podcast, when I very first started this podcast, I had some real haters. I don't have real haters anymore. The only haters I get are people that are like faceless and nameless and don't know where I am in Nebraska. But if you're on Apple Podcast, please leave a 5-star rating, because I had some haters early on that were keeping me down. Let's get that rating up. Love you, mean it. Consider becoming a member. Enjoy the outro. It's me.
Tired of being nice, switch it up like Walter White, man. Telling me to relax, I do the opposite, get hype, man. Growing up a nerd, a geek, a freak, a loser, virgin, and a burden, but I'm turning into something y'all don't recognize. Turning up my way like the highway, I require more speed. Oh, please tell me you get more cheese, and I will likely agree. I'ma keep it running Forest, run this town, you just a tourist. Borough where I reside, but I decided I may do more. I was watching Wheezy in a hotel room just spitting rhymes, and damn, it just occurred to me that I can't really make excuses. I thought it'd be easy, I was in my room in summertime, and thank God it occurred to me that I probably need more practice. Staying humble, stay off Bumble, already got my queen. Derapy the regime, swear I'm living the dream. Y'all are sleepy tucked in, only worth $1.10, but by the end of my stint, you'll remember Buxton. Damn. And I'm never finished, do this shit till I die. Ready for the prize, I'm ready for the high life, ready to make highlights, don't waste my time, cooler than the Sonic ice. Haters get bubonic die, rest will witness my rise. I'm shining like a skylight, I'm way too scared to skydive, but I'ma have a fine wife, and I'ma keep on cooking with the rare spices. Bitch, I am the bomb. They like, oh my God, where's ISIS? Huh? Dude, chill, I'm playing like an Xbox, but that doesn't mean that you can play with me, kick rocks. Okay, be real, I just picked up rapping like a hobby, like for fun or some. Then it really hit me that I might just be the one of some, hotter than the sun or some. Pick this up like hookers, but ironically, I got no hooks and never read a book up on it. Dude, it tastes so naturally. Derek B, it had to be. Working on a masterpiece, way harder than Master P. Blowing up catastrophe, leave it like a tragedy. Oh girl, you can't hate up on me when looking so raggedy. Damn, when he gets so rude. I don't know, man, ever since he been that dude.